Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about Castaway. Now, starring Tom Hanks, who is Chuck Nolan in this movie. Now, he works for FedEx and he's trying to test the performance of the company by sending a parcel to himself from Memphis, Tennessee to Russia. And during this time that the parcel arrives, he is able to physically go from Memphis, Tennessee to Russia. And then he gives a lecture to the FedEx workers in in Russia through an interpreter and complains about how bad the company is performing. He comes back to the United States and he meets with his girlfriend. She's working on a PhD in biology. And also during a family dinner, they ask him about when he's going to propose to Kelly. And this is going to be quite soon, I think. Anyway, she gives him a gift. And then on one side of it is an actual watch, and on the other side there's a picture of Kelly. So anytime he needs to see the time, he can check this watch. He also gives her a gift, but he says don't open it till later. Now he's trying to rest on the plane, but the plane unfortunately has hit a lot of turbulence, and they ditch the plane into the water, so everyone dies apart from Chuck. Now a few miracles have taken place. First of all, that he didn't die during the ditching of the plane in the water. Secondly, he was dangerously close to the engines that were still working, and he didn't get sucked into that. And thirdly, he found an inflatable. Now, he does manage to get into the inflatable, and he is taken overnight to a mysterious island. Very lucky person. Now, he is looking around the island, doesn't seem that anyone lives there, and he collects the packages from FedEx. So these were the things that got thrown into the water once the airplane ditched into the water, of course. And he's just wondering maybe these things might be useful for him. The first thing he does is to just inspect the vicinity to see if anyone is there. He calls out for help, but no one is there, unfortunately. And he's thinking of something nutritional. Maybe he could find some protein, or maybe drinking water. Of course, you know that salty water of the sea and the ocean cannot be used because it will damage your kidneys. So the first thing he thinks about is coconut water. He manages to open it with a sharp stone. Now, he keeps finding parcels from FedEx. Of course, the crashed airplane was full of parcels, so they're washing up to the shore. And then he realizes that he's getting sores on his feet, and he cuts, that's his feet. So he cuts his trousers to make himself some shoes. Then, unfortunately, he finds the body of one of the airline pilots. He has died. And he's devastated to find the body because, of course, if there was two of them, there was some hope he would at least have a companion. He looks at his ID and he does take his shoes. The shoes are a little bit small for him. And he does bury the man, Albert Miller. And during the night, he takes refuge in a cave because that probably is his best bet. It's a tropical island. So he doesn't want to be caught by surprises during the night. If there's sudden rain or thunder, then he won't wake up. Then he looks at his inflatable. He does think of maybe trying to leave the island. He packs up a few coconuts and rows his way forward. Now he's expecting to be able to get off the island easily. Now he does find that there are quite a few strong waves, but then he's not sure if he's going to make it or not. Like, yes, so far so good, but let's see if he's quite a trooper, as they say. But there's quite a large one that topples from his inflatable and slams him to the bottom of the seabed, and he's injured. He realizes that with this floating device he's not going to be able to leave the island. It has to be something stronger and sturdier. I did mention he was sleeping in a cave because it's a tropical island and he needs to be able to feel safe. Now, then the next day he looks around the island for any FedEx material he can find. Now, because a lot of these things are gifts or just things that he might be useful. So like some skating boots or like a dress. Now the dress, of course, is no use to him. It has a bit of a mesh, like a net, and he doesn't immediately think about the use of it, but of course it's very good for fishing. He finds random fish, very small fish, and he also finds like a crab, but it has to be hot, right? It has to be cooked, otherwise it's going to taste quite bad. So the next thing he needs to do is to light a fire. Now, this is not very easy, and he's a manager of FedEx. How does he know how to survive in the wild? But he has to learn, unfortunately. He finds a bit of wood and a bit of timber, but he does injure his hand and throws his volleyball. That's quite dramatic. Now he manages to light a fire. His handprint, the bloody handprint, left a bit of an impression on the volleyball. That resembled a face. So he draws 2 eyes and a nose and a mouth, and this becomes a very important part of his existence and life on the island. Why? Because he doesn't have anyone to talk to apart from this volleyball called Wilson. And of course there's no conversation as such that he talks to, so that's probably keeping him sane. He does manage to light quite a big fire, and this is quite an achievement for him, and he chats away to his friend Wilson. He had quite a throbbing pain in one of his teeth, so he needed like either an extraction or a root canal. And he used to be putting off going to the dentist, but now he said he would give anything to see a dentist. And he uses the skating boot to extract a tooth in quite a dramatic way, but then he's rid of it. 4 years pass. Unfortunately, no one notices him. He has no way of leaving, and he hasn't attempted to leave the island. And he's also made tally notes on different walls and stuff, so he knows how long has passed. Now, this is what he's morphed into. He has a spear, and he can catch fish with the spear, so he needed to learn how to do that. And this is what Wilson has changed into as well. He's morphed into quite a dramatic shape, and he's like a wild man, isn't he? One day he just gets so desperate, the fact that he's talking to a volleyball for such a long time, and he tries to end his life. He tries to set up a noose, but then it doesn't work. And luckily he didn't try it out on himself, because it wouldn't have killed him, it would just have injured him, and he wouldn't be able to move from there, so he would have a very slow and painful death. Now that he went past this point and he did return, he thinks of like he may be build a raft. Yeah, so a raft that could be durable and get him to the open waters and open ocean, in hope that he passes a shipping lane or someone finds him in the ocean. It's a tropical island. There is quite a lot of very strong material out there, both timber and things that you can bind the timber with. And he leaves a note saying that Chuck lived here for 4 years and Chuck loves Kelly. So the only thing that kept him alive for 4 years on this island was the memory of Kelly. Now, he does build a raft, and there was also a part of the fuselage of the plane that he finds, and he thinks that maybe this can withstand the mighty wave, so that one that he couldn't pass through with the inflatable. Yes, that's the one. Indeed, he can pass through. Now, he doesn't know how long now he's been on the raft. Time has passed, and he at some point also hits choppy waters and a bit of a storm, but he hangs on to the raft and hangs in there, as they say. Now, he does survive the storm, but he realizes that the storm swept away, washed away Wilson, and Wilson was the only thing that kept him alive on the island, and that's gone, and he weeps like a baby. One day he does get very lucky, and he ship on the shipping lane does find him. He's brought back home, and of course no one thought he was alive, and 4 years and a bit has passed, and there was no news of him, and they gave him up for dead. And he goes back to the FedEx headquarters, and also he realizes Kelly, so the woman he was in love with, has moved on in the past 4 years, because they told her give him up for dead, and she got married to someone else. So I don't think he wants to have any crab anymore, or fish. He had enough of that for 4 years. He does go to Kelly's house, and they hug each other, but then it's just too late, because she has moved on with her life, and she also has a baby. And unfortunately, there's no way she can undo that. And again, he leaves, but she follows him through the rain, and again they embrace, but of course it's just too late now. But there's always hope, isn't there? There's hope, because tomorrow is another day, and he sets off towards the horizon, and this is the crossroad again. So like the beginning of the movie, he's facing a crossroad, so a certain direction takes him to Canada, a certain direction takes him to Mexico, and there is always hope. So I hope you like it.